And Booger McFarland are ready to break down your draft needs right as we roll on. And it starts with Philly. We begin with the Eagles and their plans at quarterback. They trade Carson Wentz. The expectation, of course, Jalen Hurts becomes their starter. But yesterday, the coach, Nick Sirianni, and the general manager, Howie Roseman, had these things to say about the quarterback position ahead of the draft.
To name any starters at this particular time, we've been working with these guys for 2 days. Right? We've been working with these guys for 2 days. My biggest thing is competition. Again, we've talked a little bit about my core values. It's my second core value. It's this team's second core value. Competition's a huge thing. And we're going to have competition at every position.
You know, like we talked about when we had our last media opportunity, we're going to evaluate every player and nothing is off the table.
Nothing is off the table. So the Eagles aren't ruling out drafting a quarterback. Right now, these are the two quarterbacks on their roster. You see, they started 4 games each last year. The record, obviously, you add those together, it's 1-7 and a lot of trouble. But they were both in complicated circumstances. And so, Kimberly Martin, let me start with you. What the actual heck? You got the Eagles trading out of a spot where they could have taken a quarterback at number 6 if they wanted to. They trade away Carson Wentz, and now they're saying this. What does it mean?
Yep. Listen, you're going to hear Nick Sirianni talk about core values a lot. We may not know him as a head coach, but that's one of his big things, core values, and competition is key. It's not at all surprising that he didn't name Jalen Hurts the outright starter. I think if you're coming in as a new head coach, a young head coach, you're trying to rebuild a culture. So he wants guys to buy into competition, guys who want to win, who are really putting in the work and not going through the motions. So that is what Jalen Hurts, if he gives him the job outright in April, then, you know, how do you maintain the competition thing, right? But I think it's all coach speak in the end because, yes, look at the actions. All indications are that Jalen Hurts, provided they don't take a quarterback, which I don't think they will in the first round, but all indications point to Jalen Hurts being QB1 when the season starts.
All right, we'll see if they're lined up behind him. Kimberly, stay tight. I want to bring the rest of the crew in here this morning and just try and get the latest perspective on this. And Louis, Riddick, I'll start with you. Again, they were sitting at 6. If they wanted to take a quarterback, they could have. So you listen to, in one ear, you hear what they say. With your eyes, you see what they do. What do you think, Louis?
Yeah, look, I think this is typical Philadelphia right now. It really doesn't seem as though they're quite sure which direction they're going to go, or they're not giving us really the true direction that they're going to go or what they're really thinking as far as the draft is concerned. Look, what Nick Sirianni is saying is something that every coach says. I mean, every coach puts out there that they want to have great competition. They want to make sure that everybody earns their spot. Every position is up for grabs. So, I mean, him saying that really goes in one ear and out the other for me. As far as their draft strategy is concerned, your guess is as good as mine. If everything is on the table, everything, meaning quarterback is still on the table, then you never would have moved out of there. You never would have moved out of 6 and moved down to 12 because odds are you're not going to get a guy who's a top flight guy unless somehow you're going to shock the world and you're going to draft somebody like Kyle Trask or Davis Mills at number 12, or you think that someone like Mac Jones and or Justin Fields or Trey Lance is going to fall to you, which is not going to happen more than likely. So I don't really know, what their strategy is so far, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out a week from today, and we're going to see if they really have a concrete plan as to how to get this team, out of the cellar of the NFC East and get it back in contention again.
Now, Mel, I think we all of us agree with what Louis just said, that one of the big 5 quarterbacks is not still going to be available at 12. But if one of them should fall there, and stranger things have certainly happened, do you think the Eagles will take him?
I don't know, Greeny. That's a big question. I think what you can do at this time of the year is you go to the beach in the Bahamas and you relax and you tune everything out because you hear so much garbage this time of year. It's ridiculous. But I think for Philadelphia, they went from 6 to 12. They can still get a receiver, maybe Devontae Smith, maybe Jalen Waddle, maybe a linebacker like Micah Parsons or a cornerback like J.C. Horn. Jalen Hurts, wasn't that long ago that I missed something when they said that Jalen Hurts were going to build around? Wasn't that coming out of Philadelphia that this was our guy and then all of a sudden now it's going to be competition? Well, I can tell you, Joe Flacco's there to win a job. He's not there to be a nice guy and help out. He's there to try to win a job. But let's face it, Jalen Hurts is the quarterback right now, and they're going to be at 12, and they're not going to see a quarterback there at 12 more than likely. And they're going to have a really good player fall in their lap, which makes that trade at the end of the day, after you get all the yakking out of the way, at 12, they're going to probably feel pretty good about that trade and who they were able to acquire.
So it only took us 5 minutes to get Mel into that state of mind. I consider myself a success today.
This is the Mel I love. My man is getting fired up. Get all that yakking out of the way. I love it.
It's my job. He's got the pumpkin pie working already. It's coursing through the veins. All right, so Booger, let me come to you because I'm just trying to connect all the dots here, right? We trade away Carson Wentz because we want to build around this quarterback. We fired a coach because he didn't seem to get along with the previous quarterback. Now we bring in a new coach whose core value is we don't give the job to anybody. We bring in Joe Flacco, who, despite what he may think, clearly feels at this stage like a backup quarterback, and we're building around Jalen Hurts, but we won't say it. Make sense of what's happening for me in Philadelphia.
Well, Greeny, it's the part of the offseason and the part of the pre-draft process where I think GMs have to get up there and they have to say nothing and lie, and we have to dissect every piece of it. Here's what I'll say. I think if you look at why he said it, think about Joe Flacco. You got a veteran quarterback coming in who's talking about coming in and playing his best and winning the job, so you don't want to crush his hopes. So you talk about competition. Number two, the owner came out and said, and this is all I need to know because he's the guy that owns the team. He came out and said, I've instructed the front office to build around Jalen Hurts. So regardless of what Nick Sirianni says, the owner has spoken. So this is much to do about nothing. And as far as Howie Roseman is concerned, when he said everything is on the table, I'm going to translate for him. Hopefully everything means linebacker because their linebackers have been terrible. So hopefully in his language, everything means linebacker because at linebacker, wide receiver, corner, as Mel spoke about, there's a lot of room for improvement. And them moving down and trading down to the pick that they're at, Greeny, I do not think that they're going to be able to get a quarterback. So it's that part of the offseason, man, where when they say something, they try to say nothing and we got to dissect it. But when the owner speaks and the owner says do this, this is what you do. Just go back and look at what the Washington football team did when they drafted Dwayne Haskins. We knew the owner wanted him, and who did they get?
Yes. Look how well that worked out for them. So, Lewis, let me circle back to you then to finish the conversation. If Booger is saying they need a linebacker, if Micah Parsons, as Mel said, falls to them, is that the perfect pick? Is Micah Parsons from Penn State at 12 to the Eagles the perfect pick for them if it plays out that way?
Well, from a need perspective, it is, but I don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round in, over 30 years? Mm-hmm. And Jeffrey Lurie, from a team-building perspective, I can tell you this. From my time being there and then from the time since I've left there, this is not a team that invests a lot of money in linebackers, whether it be during the draft or free agency. They just don't. This is not a critical position for them. It is not a top 5 position for them. Heck, I don't even believe it's a top 10 position for them. This is an offensive-driven football team, a team that believes you have to outscore the opponent and then hold on, play ball control late in football games in order to secure the win. And I don't think that they value linebacker, or rather look at linebacker as being one of those positions that really puts you in a position to play out that kind of philosophy. So, I mean, when you look at their depth chart, yeah, he would make sense. When you look at their philosophy and look at their history, no, it doesn't make sense at all.
Well, everything is on the table in Philadelphia, which means we are 1 week away from the draft. Sit tight, guys. We have so much to do, just getting started. But speaking of Philadelphia, all the Sixers were involved in the game of the night last night. Joel Embiid and his team taking on the Suns, and it's a good game. Second quarter, Sixers up 3, and look at Embiid working on his former teammate, Dario Saric. Look at the bully ball. Embiid a double-double in the first half, 18 and 10. Now, fourth quarter, here's where it gets decided. Good game. Minute to play. Sixers are down 6 and more from Joel. Well, look at the handles. Look at the spinorama. He had 38 points, 17 rebounds. Now, Suns on the other end. We're under 20 seconds to play. Shot clock winding down. Devin Booker looking for space. Devin Booker gets it to go. He had 19. Suns up 6. 5 seconds to play. Sixers are down 5. Frickin' Korkmaz with the inbound. Trying to find some room. He's got the 3. Sixers are within 2. They need to foul. Suns got to get it in. Suns got to get it in. Suns got to get it in. Oh, they do. Chris Paul, he scored 28 points on the night. 2 free throws would ice it. He would make the first. Here comes the second. It's no good. Sixers, a chance. Embiid. Oh, look how close that was to going in. Take another look. Embiid with the essentially full court heave. That ball is in. All of it is beneath the rim, and it doesn't go.